One of the world's most valuable company and the most capitalized in the U.S. market on Wall Street is Apple Incorporated, and that company is worth more than 400 billion US dollars, and that's just about a shade shy of Nigeria's total GDP. So the ICT folks are the big boys in the room anywhere in the world, from Microsoft, from the days of Microsoft and what are called the IBM, and later to LinkedIn and Twitter. We sleep and wake up with these folks who are young and creative and innovation. So about a decade ago, Nigeria stepped into the world of ICT with the GSM licensing rounds, and the country had never been the same since. This guy's now what you call the Nigeria's new economy, until we fix something else. The ICT is the Nigeria's new economy. So let's talk about the business of ICT. Let's talk about the integrity of contracts and deals, and why creativity and innovation should be rewarded rather than threatened. Duremi Atadahu is an executive director at System Specs here in Lagos, and is joining me live here in the studio to have about 15 minutes conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, Hussein.
Thank you for coming. You guys are the big boys around the world. Some of us who are older sometimes feel a little bit envious of you. We grew up on typewriter, then you brought in Twitter, so you displaced my typewriter. Then I feel I've got to catch up on tablets like these and things like that. So this is your world that I found myself, and all of us found ourselves. So let's start this conversation again. Let's review the ICT market in Nigeria. We know the numbers. It's been about a little over 10 years since GSM round, and since then it's been leaps and bounds. So in terms of contribution to the GDP, revenue, and jobs, in summary, how well are you guys still doing?
Well, thank you, Bosan. The honest truth is that's the new world order, the knowledge economy. And at the last count, the contribution of ICT to GDP, even in Nigeria, is about 11%, and it's still growing. And like you said, we've been an oil-dependent country for over 50 years, and the real play of IT in here is just actively less than 15, 20 years. And you can see the trend, and that's still growing. In the number of jobs as well, you can see, I mean, you just highlighted the GSM revolution, and how that just catalyzed the nature of jobs that could be created, and also along the value chain. And that just shows you what disruption in technology can do when you're talking about the knowledge economy.
In terms of stability, you folks seem to have had everything going for you all the others while. Well, after the GSM revolution, all the licensing rounds, there were a few comments about what went on. But again, looks like all the operators and the data markets that we're now in, all of that has since ramped up things in such a way that we can always look back and say, I think despite some imperfections, what we did with the GSM licensing round way back 15 years ago or so was a good step. We did it at the right time, and we're now moving on. But now it looks like creativity, innovation, investments are now being threatened because of a few issues of lack of integrity to contractual agreements and things like that. I have a few examples, and I'm not talking about the TSA only. We have seen, even in the stock market, relationship between parties regarding who provides what software, for how many years, who pays for it, why do we have to scrap it, and things like that. Do you think we're entering a new phase in which young guys like yourself who are creative and innovative perhaps will have to have a second think about, why am I doing this?
Well, thank you also for bringing up that point. The point is, like I said, the knowledge economy is still very new to us here, and our laws are even far behind what the knowledge economy represents. Talking about intellectual property, which is something that's not very much recognized around here. So you find it that someone can just say you're getting paid for doing nothing because you can't relate with software because it's an intangible. Meanwhile, software drives.
It's not a factory line.
It's not a factory line.
You're not seeing the bottles and the cars coming
down. You're not seeing any lines rolling, and that's just so. We're used to seeing a tuber of cassava, a tuber of yam. You put it in the marketplace.
Or a bag of cement.
Or a bag of cement. And then somebody makes a call, and if you remember when the GSM revolution started, and they said a minute is priced at this much, and people were making calls. All of a sudden, that grew, and even the man on the field who was selling yam has suddenly become a recharge card seller. The same thing happens in the different aspects of ICT because it just becomes the new way of living your life.
I'm making money. People work in offices, all you need is a VTU, isn't it?
Well, exactly.
And you can just distribute.
Yeah, it's not about making money, it's about somebody has applied his mind to create what never existed, and that's what we're not putting value on. And so, if you look at the contractual laws, you also into that. You struggle to see how someone can want to put so much value on what's been created without necessarily looking at the impact of the value on the economy. And so it becomes an argument point.
Intellectual property industry in Nigeria, laws and regulations, what do you guys want? Because we've heard this from the folks who are artists, whether it is in the field of music or movies, that look, people have stolen my work or they don't respect it, they play my music or my video, I'm not getting paid for it, or I'm not getting paid the right amount.
Yeah, we just need to look into what's happening in other parts of the world, and that will give us an idea. And that for as long as Bob Marley has been dead, for as long as his songs continue to be played,
1981.
Can you imagine? And I was in primary school then. For as long as his songs are played anywhere in the world, it still gets to be paid something. Think about the musicians in Nigeria before then. Many of them died in penury, and nobody said anything. So translate that, fast track that into the IT world, where we've got a unique opportunity to match up what's happening in the global economy, and we don't even recognize it. And we don't even have laws to support that in the real sense that supports IT law. If you want to patent something in Nigeria today, just think about it. An innovative breakthrough in IT, just ask yourself, the average innovator in Nigeria, where does he go? He still has to fill forms, probably starting on paper, whereas in other economies, immediately that has been created, because in the digital space, quite a number of things are streamlined, and they get off the ground.
So he does that from his bedroom, from his laptop.
And that reminds you how Bill Gates started, by the way, in some back of town garage, and today Microsoft is a success story. And you want to ask yourself, the orders presented before Nigerian firms who are supposed to be innovators, everybody in the world agrees we've got what it takes upstairs, but our processes, business processes, are hindering innovation, preserving intellectual property.
If you contribute 11% to the government, don't ask government what the government can do for you. Ask what you can do for the government. So you folks believe that you are doing something for the government. So you want something back. Who would you be talking to? The executive or the legislature? Who are you taking the battle to? Again, if you look at, because we got issues here with integrity of contracts, or contractual obligations, whether it's in the oil and gas sector or now in the ICT. Again, if someone sits down and uses man hours locked behind a room, he wants to get paid for it. So if such a service is used, like